In this video, we're going to be exploring how to increase your activity levels with fatigue-related conditions without crashing. So the first thing I want to say, and this is really important, you cannot push your way to recovery. So many of us that have experienced fatigue-related conditions, one of our challenges is we have an achiever pattern, we have a helper pattern, we're always pushing our bodies, we're always trying to be there for other people. And that can often be one of the factors, often one of a number of factors, in why our system crashed in the first place. So we can't solve a problem. I think it was Einstein that said, you can't solve a problem at the level the problem's being created. You can't push through to get well. Increases in activity have to come from the fact that we are physically getting stronger. So this video is targeted where you're making physical progress. That may be because you've been working on calming your system and more energy is coming back. It may be because you've been working with a nutritional therapist, for example, and you've been balancing your hormones, improving your digestion, whatever it may be. But as energy starts to increase, how do we navigate that? What can sometimes happen is we've been resting, we've been managing our activity levels, we start to feel a little bit better, and there's all these things we haven't done that we need to do. And before we know it, we're pushing ourselves to do all of those things. What started as a little bit of energy, we're now pushing through. It can also be the case that we've been so bored because we can't do things that we love to do. And now we've got a little bit of energy. We want to do all the things that we love to do. So it's really important that we're not just trying to push ourselves to do more. And when we get some energy, we manage it carefully. One of the real tricks to fatigue recovery is that we are building more energy than we're spending. It's like we have more money going into our bank account, our energy bank account each day, than money that's going out. That additional money is used to build up our reserves. It's used to do our healing work. If you're finding this video helpful, do subscribe to the Optimum Health Clinic channel here on YouTube and click the notification bell, and you'll be notified as we release new videos. So let's assume that you've got some energy coming back. Let's assume that you're listening to your body, you're being careful in how you're increasing your activity levels. How much should you do on what kind of schedule? So we talk about a principle called bouncing the boundaries. So you find the previous edge, like the limit of where you've been, and then you gently bounce that boundary. And you do that once with an activity. Then you wait a couple of days to make sure there's not a delayed fatigue response, where sometimes we do something, we feel fine, then we crash a few days later. And if that crash doesn't happen, then we do that a couple more times. And then we find that hopefully we've expanded our boundary, we found a new edge. We then want to stabilize that level, and then we can do the same again. And if what happens is we push an edge and it's too much, we go back to where we were safely at the boundary before. On our healing journey, the boundary is going to keep moving. And sometimes we don't know where the edge is until we hit it. And that's okay. We just want to hit it gently, and we want the outcome of hitting it to be no more than a few days of bouncing back to the level we were before. So you can see there's quite a careful, methodical approach of making sure that energy is overall increasing, testing the edges carefully, and then stabilizing our new level before we do that again. Another thing to be aware of, sometimes because of the trauma, the suffering, the difficulty that's come from all the crashes and the sort of being up and down all over the place previously, that we can have a lot of anxiety thoughts about doing too much. And sometimes the crashes that happen are not from what we do physically, but they're from the fact that our nervous system was so dysregulated doing that new thing. So it's also important as you're working on bouncing the boundaries that you're also working with calming your nervous system and allowing your system to learn that it's safe doing these new activities or expanding what you're doing because it is. Because you're doing it carefully, you're doing it skillfully, and you're doing it in relationship with your body. And of course, there is nothing more ultimately calming and reassuring than seeing that over the last weeks, the last months, we've gradually been improving. I get nervous as a practitioner when people start to have massive increases in energy in very short periods of time. Obviously, it's great that energy is coming back, but what goes up in a way that's unsupported often crashes back down again. What we're really looking for is gradual, consistent, stable improvement. To learn more about bouncing the boundaries, about how to increase your activity in a careful way, do check out my book, Decode Your Fatigue. We've got several chapters that go into this in much more detail, but the book also looks at what are the underlying principles and approaches which will help you recover and increase your energy in the first place. And if you'd like to speak with one of my practitioner team here at the Optimum Health Clinic, you can book a free discovery call at theoptimumhealthclinic.com. Thank you for watching. Hope that's been helpful.